Okay, Siman Shin Yud. Dini muktzah b'Shabbos away tasifim. Laws of muktzah on Shabbos. It's going to discuss the halachas of Gergis v'Tzimukim. עכשיו אנחנו במשנה ברורה. אבל אחר כך נאמר את זה גם. It's going to discuss the laws of Gergis v'Tzimukim, which is more or less the concept of dechoy b'yadayim, when you reject something actively. It's also going to discuss some of the laws of buses, even though we discussed it in the last Siman. It's going to discuss some more of them. With no further ado, right? Shetolin by Dagim. Machara says in Sif Aleph. A tree, not a tree, sorry, a piece of wood that is used to hang fish from. I think the fish dry from there. Most, even though it is disgusting because it's very smelly, what you're allowed to move it. Because we paskin like Rabbi Shimon, that is mekel on muktzah machmas miyus. We had that in Shimchas. That something that's disgusting is still not considered muktzah. And the reason we give there is that even though it's disgusting, you might use it sometimes to cover a keli with.
What was an example?
What examples did we give in Shimchas? No. We gave a ner. I'll give an example of a ner cheres, which in those days would get very oily after you lit it, and it would get greasy, and you wouldn't use it for anything besides lighting. So you might think it's like a klisha malayis. You might think it's like a muktzah machmas, which is muktzah gomer, because you only use it for the forbidden thing. So just know that you might use it for covering another keli. You wouldn't put anything in it, but you might use it for covering. And according to according to Rabbi Shimon, that's not muktzah. Now he says,
I put heat. You can put it off now. It was free. It was 65 when I came. Now it's 70 away.
He points out in the Dirshu that the understanding is, right, that if it would be this thing that is so disgusting that you wouldn't even use it to cover anything with, like for example a bedpan, something like that, then it would be muktzah gomer. A bedpan that you need, you can move. We said already in Shimchas, if you need it, or if it's disgusting, it's in the way, whatever, different things. But be'atzem, it would be muktzah gomer if it's so disgusting that you wouldn't use it for anything else. Days. There is no such thing as food that is disconnected from the ground and is fit for eating that is muktzah on Shabbos. Shomim? One more time. Listen carefully. There is no such thing as food that is fit for eating and is permissible to eat, I'll add, and is muktzah on Shabbos. Doesn't exist. That's because it's not fit. That's because it's not fit. And even if it becomes fit, so it's still muktzah. We're going to say about that right now. For example, so let's take, for example, nuts or fruits that you are planning to sell. You have a store planning to sell them. So according to the stricter opinion of muktzah and the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda, he would say that's muktzah because you set it aside for selling. We don't paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Paskin like Rabbi Shimon, and that's not muktzah. So you could
like Rabbi Yehuda on Shabbos? On Yom Tov?
Some do. The Machaber does, yes. Machaber does.
Shimon Shabbos.
Shkoyach. Very good. Shimon stands for Shabbos and Yehuda stands for Yom Tov. Yud. So, bottom line is, that on Shabbos you're allowed to eat from them.
But you mentioned that something that when you have the mikvah, when you feel
Something that what?
you dedicate to sell.
Yeah,
Okay? So you're not allowed to use it.
you are allowed to use it.
You have in mind to use it before.
That's Rabbi Yehuda. We don't pass like Rabbi Yehuda. We pass like Rabbi Shimon, that even something that is designated for selling, you can change your mind. Change your mind. You're allowed to change your mind. Muktzah l'schayra is not considered muktzah.
Everyone goes like Reb Shimon on Shabbos?
Yeah.
No one's walking on Kabira?
In halacha,
Some Ben Chai brings that things that are very expensive. Oh, but not food. They roast like on food?
things that are very expensive are muktzah machmas and kiss. Well, what do you mean?
No, that are permissible to be used. They're permissible to be used. What other condition is there? They're permissible to be used. He said since it's expensive, you put it away already, so you can't use it.
You put it away for selling? Is that what you mean? Schayra?
Designated for selling, and you would be, I'll review it whenever.
About caviar, maybe?
No, not it, right, that's food, but I was trying to make it even more general. But,
I mean, there is a concept, even according to Reb Shimon, of something that you dechoy biyadayim, that you actively reject from use. There is such a thing, like Gregus Mugim. And the only reason that schoira is not considered muktzah, according to Reb Shimon, is that even though a person puts something aside for schoira, he might change his mind. Every person who sells knows that in the back of his mind, if he needs it for himself, he'll keep it for himself. It could be there are such items that are so expensive that even the seicher doesn't use. You know, he has the crown jewels. He's never going to use them. He's never going to touch them. They're too expensive to mess with. You know what I'm saying? So Reb Shimon could agree to the idea of muktzah, but he's more lenient in his application. So he would say that even that a regular item that is set aside for schayra, most people would change their mind and decide to use. That's not out of the question. But it could be something that is in the person's mind. There's no question he's not going to use that would be muktzah, even according to Reb Shimon. I think I did come across that. I think we even mentioned it in Shinches when we discussed this concept of schayra. I'm pretty sure we said that it's because person would decide, but if it's taka something that he would not use because of whatever, then it's not. Then it is muktzah. Yes, I'm sorry.
I don't know if the example I gave was that extreme, but I know there was example that I know.
So what I'm doing in the line is starting the previous Siman, if the person left his foot on the roof to drive it.
We're going to discuss. And we're going to discuss that.
So over there, we already mentioned that if you put it to dry, he cannot change his mind and go and use them on Shabbos. So what if you like dedicate them to dry them and put them for sale?
Because selling them doesn't make them.
But even without put them on the roof, they still.
No, when you sell them, it doesn't make them inedible. When you put them on the roof and they start to dry, they become inedible.
But you can eat them even before. You can eat them both ways.
You can eat them before and you can eat them after, but not in the middle.
Yeah, but the dry time, it doesn't take, like it takes sometimes a few days to dry, not like over. That's the point.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, it takes. So by putting it up there, you are decha'o biyadayim. You rejected it actively. You did an action to reject it. So therefore, it's considered muktzah even before it dries, up until it dries. If it dries completely before Shabbos, then it's okay.
But this is a good example. And this will be muktzah Shabbat, but because you got little bit of food, so it's okay.
It's okay. I would eat it.
It's
We're still in the
it's
cup.
not
I would
muktzah.
eat
Why?
No.
Colonel?
a kernel that's edible.
They're just, are those edible?
Yes.
Eat that?
So,
The holiday.
and a rabbi said that.
Could be that the fact that you putting the food on the roof to dry is like you were putting like in an oven or in the process of cooking or something. Because of that is.
Sorry?
Could be that when you put the fruits in the roof to dry, it would be the same as putting them in an oven or in a process
No.
to cook.
No. That's called Gomer B'dei Adam. Putting something in an oven is called Gomer B'dei Adam, and that's not muktzah. Meaning to say, that's something that you have control over, and you know, as a result of your actions, that it's going to be ready on Shabbos. When you put up a raw challah, we discussed this in Shinches, when you put up a raw challah right before Shabbos, raw meat, so it's not fit when Shabbos comes in, but it's within your ability to definitely make it fit. And therefore you expect to have it fit, and it's not going to be muktzah. Now, if you could know for sure that these things are going to dry by Shabbos, the whole thing of Gergav Samukim wouldn't apply. The Maisa you don't know because it depends on the weather, it depends on the sun, depends on so many factors, so you don't know when it's going to be ready, and therefore they remain muktzah even if they become ready on Shabbos. But something that you could know is for sure going to be ready on Shabbos is not going to be muktzah. An example is chalent or whatever.
Can you make a pie that you put it food instead of if it's going to dry during Shabbos, I don't need it.
No, it doesn't help. Because you rejected them.
Making the pie, you're like, I'm not Masiach Da'ati.
You are Masiach Das. If you say you're not, it's not true. Because you can't eat them.
But I will go and check.
Doesn't make a difference. As long as they are not ready to eat, you can't eat them. They're not edible. You understand? So what do you mean? I'm not Masiach Das. You are Masiach Das. You can't eat them.
I'm putting on Friday, and then on Shabbos afternoon, I'm going out to Jewish. I want to take some to eat.
One moment, please. Hello? Baruch Hashem. אני באמצע, אבל מה קורה? Yeah, what's up? Can I call you back at 10? Can I call you back at 10?
And 10.
Right now I'm in Highland Lakes, but I'll call you at 10, okay? Call to bye.
How about you put in the cholent? Draw before
You
Shabbos.
pray, Rabbi? You did Arvit? Did Arvit?
I didn't. No.
כמובן, הושיע את עמך.
Put in the cholent before Shabbos as well.
Hmm?
I mean, imagine on Shabbos it's going to be cooked and they're going to eat it. Did you know? Maybe it's not going to be cooked. Maybe something during the night, electric run on and off, and you think you got cooked.
You did Arvit or no? No.
The,
So we okay. We missing one.
I mean, you never know. The Shiach could come.
We are five, no prayer.
Lahavdil, a tidal wave
So
could come.
why we cannot compare the cholent that are putting to draw before Shabbos or the food that are putting to dry, and maybe they get dry during Shabbos?
Because the cholent is going to be ready 99.9% of the time, unless a hurricane comes, unless an earthquake, a blackout that they don't fix. You know what I'm saying? What are the chances? A person is not muktzah da'ato. When he puts up the cholent before Shabbos, it doesn't occur to him that it's not going to be ready. Of course, he invites guests. Why does he invite guests? Because he expects it to be ready. He would never invite guests planning to serve them those grogod v'tzimukim for dessert. Nachon? Even if yes, he would have a plan B. In case they're not ready,
Okay, so
I'm going to have strawberries in the back.
what's wrong with having a plan B?
Because once you put them on the roof, you reject them, and you don't know if they're going to be ready. So the rejection is complete. The bringing them back is not sure, so they remain rejected.
Could be a scenario that you put the fruit, let's say, on Sunday. By Friday, this thing is almost or short.
Oh, okay, so that's something else.
But it's not. It's almost ready, but you say, we need another.
Okay,
3
so
or
then
4
it's no
hours
good.
or something.
No, then it's no good. Then it's no good. Then it's no good.
It only needs one or two. It's
Lo
almost
mishan.
done.
If you know for sure it's going to be done, then yes. If
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not sure,
Well, no, he knows it's 3 or 4 hours.
yeah, then yeah.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
Then it's like cooking.
Okay.
What are the things that are
Okay. We continue and we say
You have to text, remember?
8 2. Missing two.
We have 5 pray, 5 no pray.
But we're missing two. You have
2
somebody,
doesn't matter which one. And the middle.
but only if you didn't daven.
No, you don't need because we have 5 no pray.
So I need 6 that didn't
Oh,
pray.
okay. You didn't pray? 6, Rabbi. Shia et amecha uvarech et mechalatecha ored. 6, perfect. We're good.
The first one we did was
תעזור לי. אתה יודע לספור ביידיש? אתה מדבר ביידיש? כל הכבוד.
אתה מדבר יידיש? באמת?
עם עזרה של הרבי.
Okay. We continue. We say, "Va'afilu chipim shezorim b'karka v'dat le'yishrishu." Here's a big chiddush. Even wheat that he sowed, that he put in the ground, and they didn't take root yet. So you're gonna say, "Adan lo mechubar." No, the Mishnah Berurah says that they're not covered. They're not covered. If they're covered, they're considered already planted. And to take them out, he says is koitzer. But if it's sitting on the top,
what? You mean like just the seed?
the seed is sitting on the top.
Collect the seed.
Collect the
Was
seed.
it edible?
Yeah, we're talking about edible seeds. Talking about like chitin, wheat. Raw wheat is edible.
If someone put seeds in the ground on Shabbos and they didn't give Shara, should we take them out?
Inside the ground?
On Shabbos itself,
You put them on Shabbos and
yeah.
you should take them out.
The whole thing about not telling a person to, anyway, it's not even a sin to take them out. I'm just realizing. Even for somebody else, you can take it out.
This is not considered planting.
It's not
It's not
considered.
great, so we're taking it out.
No.
That's why I asked.
Oh, if it didn't take root yet, and it's not covered. Oh, if it is covered, you mean? If it is covered, then it is considered koitzer.
So she shouldn't take it out.
Somebody else definitely cannot, because we don't tell a person to sin to save somebody else. For the person himself, that I don't know. If it's mamish koitzer, then what's the point? Doing another layer, it doesn't help. Like turning off the light, they turned on by mistake, doesn't help. But if it's only koitzer rabbanan, because it didn't really take root, and you'll save yourself from zera deraisa, I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. Ubeitzim tachta nagolis, and the eggs under the chicken. What does that mean? A farmer, an egg farmer, most of the eggs he collects, he sells them, makes scrambled eggs out of them. Once in a while, he leaves the eggs under the chicken because he wants chicks, next generation. So these eggs, he put them back under the chicken. Not only did he leave them there, he put them back. You could say the choy biyadayim. He actively rejected it. He put it back. No. Mutar l'tatlan. You're allowed to move them.
Take them if you want.
No. No.
Why is it no?
Because when you are the choy biyadayim, if it's not something that is going to get better, it's only going to get worse, and it hasn't gotten worse yet, it's not muktzah. That's what they explain here in the Dirshu. Meaning to say, when it comes to Gerges with Tzimukim, as soon as you put them up on the roof to dry, they're muktzah, even before they go bad. Why? Because you know that they're going to get better later, right, after they dry, so you forget about them. As soon as you put them up there, forget about it. I want them to get better. I don't want to take them because I put them there to get better. However, when you put something in a way that it's never going to come back as it is, I mean, the wheat will sprout, it'll become something else. Chicken will, the egg will become a chicken, a hen, whatever. But as an egg, you're never getting it back. So in that case, until it actually gets ruined, you're not completely Masiach Das. Something that's going to get worse and then better, as soon as you put it there, you're Masiach Das because you want it to get better. Someone doesn't get better until it's not edible. You still have your mind on it.
What do you got concept of putting under the chicken? So it's like the bitzim shetachat ha'negoleh. I was like, where we get the concept that the farm going to put him under the chicken? Like if it's already under the chicken, so you're allowed to take him out. This is understand. You're allowed to take the egg under the chicken.
No, mechila.
The Mishnah Berurah says, "R'tzonam lamar shehu shiva tanagoleh al bitzim miba'od yom kedei legadlam le'efrachim."
Yeah, he says shohoshiv. He doesn't say exactly what I said. He says shohoshiv. The Mishnah Berurah says you put the chicken on these eggs. So you did a maisa. Of course, if you left them there, it's not any worse. The chiddush is even if you put the chicken on there, so you did a maisa, that's the chiddush. Even if you did a maisa to show that you don't want it, it's still not muktzah. That's the chiddush.
You know what
I gave an example of putting it back. Mishnah Berurah talks about putting the chicken on it, but it's the same idea.
He's still allowed to take the
Rabbi,
You know what
Yeah.
I thought, Rabbi? It's like the chicken when they have the eggs, it's automatically rolling down from her. You know, it's like a peach. No,
What?
you stay over there and they take it.
Of course.
I,
No.
Rabbi, I thought these were fertilized eggs.
I don't think so. I think you have to actually collect them. One second. Shh. Daniel, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, these are fertilized eggs, so I thought we don't generally eat fertilized eggs.
In the old days, they only ate fertilized eggs. Unfertilized eggs were considered unusual. A lot of fertilized egg is an egg that was made with a hen and a rooster. They got together and they made an egg as they ate us.
But in general, the eggs we eat are not fertilized, I thought.
Nowadays they're not. In the olden days they were. No. No, the normal eggs were fertilized in the olden days. Commonplace eggs were fertilized. The whole idea of eating a non-fertilized egg was considered that like it's a strange egg, not fertilized.
The eggs still have blood. So I think
It's more lenient when it's an unfertilized egg because it's not going to really develop into a chicken anyway.
But it has egg blood means there was right.
No, not
Not
necessarily.
anything to do.
Why would there be blood?
In fertilized or unfertilized? I don't know how it works.
That's why.
But there is.
We're checking for blood.
Physically, I don't know how it works. In a fertilized egg, we're learning in the Daf Yomi now. So the egg, the blood is actually a sign that it's starting to develop as a chick. In a non-fertilized egg, I don't know how it works. Sorry? Just looking for the Alter Rebbe, what he says in fertilized. If there's no rooster in the hen house, you know it's not fertilized. If there is, then there's a good chance that it is. There's something in Masechta Beitza about a rooster traveling up to 60 houses away to get together with the hen. I don't remember exactly what the share is going to get to, but it's 60 houses. Beitzim sheneson on tachas anagoy the sagar lafrich. Alter Rebbe says, if you put them under the hen. Of course, if you didn't take them out in the first place, it's even more so.
My guy is no good for our weight.
Okay. Let's continue. V'chein t'mor malakutin kodim bishulon v'chein tzenosim b'salim v'mispashim aleim mutar lechem mem kodim bishulon. Now, you have dates. They're not properly ripe. You could eat them now, even though they're not properly ripe, they're edible. Or you could put them in special baskets, where they're going to ripen. But they don't get worse. They only get better. So the fact that you put them there to ripen doesn't mean that you can't change your mind and eat them now. There's no problem.
as long as it's not at the roof.
No, it's not about the roof. It's about the type of fruit it is. Dates don't get. Actually, Gorgas are also dates. No, the difference is one second. Unripe dates that you put to ripen, not to dry. Unripe dates that you put to ripen don't get worse. They just get better. But fresh dates that you put to dry, those are the ones that get bad in between. Understand? Ken. No, Gorgot זה תמרים גם.
כן, זה לא נראה.
איפה?
הנה, הוא בא מלמעלה. הביצים, הוא לוקח ילד ולוקח אותם.
איפה זה רולינג? למה אתה אומר זה רולינג?
כמובן שהוא ירד כבר. הנה, הוא מחפש עוד.
אבל מאיפה זה רולינג? אני לא יודע. אני לא רואה שזה רולינג. לא יודע. Maybe they do it. I never saw it. No, I'm sorry. It's dried figs. Excuse me. Dried figs. Figs, yeah. I always get mixed up between those. Shomea, it's figs. Figs, when they dry, they go bad. Okay. However, figs and grapes that you put in a muktzah. Muktzah is like an area outside the house. Sorry? Yeah. I always get mixed up.
Then the measurement is a date. Garrett? Can you go Garrett?
Kosevas is a date.
Also go Garrett.
Also, so Gregas is a fig.
What's Kosevas?
Kosevas is a date. And Yom Kippur is Kosevas Gasa. Shir Vachila Yom Kippur is a Kosevas, not a Kazayas. But Gregas is a fig. Okay, the point is, they are forbidden on Shabbos because of muktzah. Because they go bad before they dry. Because you know that they're going to go bad, you masir das from them. Because there are two things. You actively rejected them, and they're also not fit. Those are the two factors. You actively rejected them, and they're not fit. In other words, in the case of the schoira, you put it in the storeroom. You could say, I actively rejected it. Yeah, but it's still fit, so you can change your mind anytime. In a case where you didn't reject it, it was just not fit. The fruit was not ripe yet, and it became ripe on Shabbos. Okay, you didn't actively reject it. Okay, now it's ready. It wasn't ready before. B'vakasha, you can eat it. But if it was dachinu biyadayim v'lo chazu, if you actively rejected it plus it's not fit, havi muktzah is muktzah. Yeshayim the Rama says, some say they're not going to shach b'shel any Yehudi. Afilu gergus tzimukim shebiyadei mutar. The whole concept of achana does not apply to a goy. Because what does achana mean? Achana means that before Shabbos it has to be prepared. If it's not prepared before Shabbos, so in your mind you've decided that it's not available for Shabbos use, so therefore it has a din of muktzah. By a goy there is no such concept. He doesn't keep Shabbos. He's not restricted to anything. So he never sets his mind aside from something. Anything that is dependent on the goy's intentions, on his thoughts, on his what he's thinking, doesn't make a muktzah. Now there are things that can belong to a goy that can be muktzah because they are essentially muktzah, right? Meaning to say, sticks, stones, earth, etc., belonging to goy. I mean, they're muktzah because they're just muktzah, not because he made them muktzah. You understand? They're muktzah. Raw food that's not edible. muktzah. Goy, not goy. Doesn't make a difference. It's muktzah. But if it's something that is made muktzah by the person, by thinking, by deciding, that doesn't apply to a goy. Because a goy doesn't have the concept of muktzah. He doesn't set aside anything in his mind. So let's go back to this case of Gorgiv Simukim, right? Gorgiv Simukim are muktzah because you set them aside and they're not fit. Meaning to say, if they're actually not fit, meaning to say they're simply not edible, then regardless of who set them aside, Jew or Gentile, they're muktzah because they're not fit for anything. But let's say when Shabbos came, they were not fit. And then in the middle of Shabbos, they become fit. So by a Jew, we say, listen, you set it aside. You didn't know that they would be fit. Even if you thought you wanted them, you didn't know for sure, forget about it. You set it aside in your mind, it's muktzah. By a goy, there's no such thing as setting aside in his mind. So when it becomes ready on Shabbos, lakasha, you need it. Before it's ready, it has nothing to do with his mind. It's just a muktzah item. Okay. But after it's ready, we don't say it remains muktzah because he set it aside, because he doesn't set anything aside. Ya ba 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 ba, ya ba 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 ba.
Question.
You say yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question over here. Back there where it says De'ika Tarte, Delainu, what does that mean?
Onion. One more time, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what does it mean? De'ika Tarte, Chanihu.
Ikatarti, there are two things. Tachinu b'yadayim. First of all, he rejected it actively. The loy chazu, and secondly, that it's not fit. Those are the two things. Tarti means two.
Uh-huh.
Or tachinu b'yadayim is number one, actively rejected it. And number two, loy chazu, they're not fit.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Okay. We continue with Gimel and we say, Bein Be'eser Achila, Bein Be'eser Tilchel, whether it comes to the Isser of eating or the Isser of moving, Kol Dover Shayaroi Ben Hashmoshes, anything that was fit when Shabbos began. Im Eir Boy Dover Sheneskalko Boy Boy, no, Maspik. Im Eir Boy Dover Sheneskalko Boy Boy, if something happened that it got ruined on the day, and then it was fixed on the day, it goes back to being mutter. But something that was set aside, ben hashmoshes, is forbidden the whole day. Okay, one more time. Everything depends on when Shabbos begins. We read it in the parsha a couple of weeks ago. Before Shabbos, it has to be prepared. It's prepared before Shabbos, it's okay. If it's not prepared before Shabbos, meaning that when Shabbos comes in, if it's not prepared, then it's muktzah. Even though muktzah is only Rabbanon, but we kind of use that pasuk as a basis anyway. So if when does Shabbos come in? Sometime between the sun sets and the stars come out. Ben hashmoshes. We don't know exactly, but sometime at that time. So for something to be muktzah, it has to be that during that time that Shabbos begins, it's not fit. The whole time. Because muktzah is only Rabbanan, so we're going to be lenient. If some of it was ready, we'll say, well, maybe that's when Shabbos came in. So it's going to be okay. But if when Shabbos came in, it was okay, and then something happened on Shabbos to render it muktzah, it can change back on Shabbos. So, for example, you have fruits that when Shabbos came in, they became inedible. They became inedible. And then they became edible again. For example, Mishnah Berurah says, Yardu k'sham al tzimoikim nispachu ad she'norin la'achila. You had raisins. The raisins were already ready. and you could have taken them down and eaten them. You didn't. You left them up there. Shabbos came in. They were raisins. They were edible. Then it rained on them. They got no good from the rain. And then the sun came out and they got dried. That's not muktzah. Because when Shabbos came in, they weren't muktzah. They became muktzah. When they're not edible, then they're muktzah because they're not fit. They dried out, they became edible again. They're not muktzah. No problem. On the other hand, if when Shabbos came in, they were not edible, so then they're going to remain muktzah for the whole Shabbos. All right?
This is nothing new. I mean, we learned it. Whatever starts, so that's that continues. The second thing.
There's something new, but I'm not sure I understand it. That's why I'm not saying it.
Okay.
No. Let me see.
What the hell?
And the new elements that we got, it became non-edible impact.
Yes, sir.
Let me change something about opinion that there's no such a thing as the linear opinion, there's no such a thing as muktzah for part of Shabbos. For only part.
Also, there was a combination of social and Danish motion.
אני רוצה לדבר עם שמואל. אמרתי לו, למה הוא בבעל, גגים הנה. היה לי שאלה במקרב. שמואל. אז אמרתי לו.
Okay, so here's what I'm trying to figure out, and I don't know the answer to. But if I would know the answer to, then it would be a chiddush. Here's the thing: when it comes to something that is not fit, but it's not the choy biyadayim, we don't usually apply this rule of if it's muktzah ben hashmashas, then it's muktzah the whole Shabbos. The rule of if it's muktzah ben hashmashas, it remains muktzah the whole Shabbos, is only if the choy biyadayim, if you rejected it, not if it was just, not fit because Hashem made it not be fit. You know what I'm saying? If something is not ripe, I have this guy, he brings his fruit sometimes when he comes for a Shabbos meal, he brings his fruit. And he's a botanist. He's an expert in agriculture and things that grow, whatever he's called. So he'll bring me a fruit sometimes and I'll say, Wednesday afternoon, it'll be ripe. So let's say you have a fruit like that and it's taka not ripe when Shabbos comes in. Let's just say for argument's sake, it's not ripe when Shabbos comes in. And it becomes ripe on Shabbos. It's not muktzah. When Ben Hashmashas began, it was muktzah. It wasn't edible. No, that's not the Chayv Yadayim. Hashem didn't. Hashem made it not edible. You didn't make it not edible. It was just not edible yet. It became edible. Okay. Bakasha. So over here, it's a chiddush taka. Why is it muktzah if it would have happened before Ben Hashmashas? The raisins are already edible. It rained. I didn't want it to rain. I mean, okay, Hashem made it rain, so it's not edible. Then it dries out. Hashem made it dry out. Bakasha, why is it even muktzah? You understand what I'm saying? I don't know the answer to that.
Why they're wet?
They're muktzah because they're not edible.
Only that.
They're not edible. Nobody eats them that way. Then they become edible. So the Mishnah Berurah says because when Shabbos came in, the word muktzah, they only became muktzah on Shabbos. They can lose that muktzah status on Shabbos also. But what I don't understand, and if I would, maybe we would know the chiddush here, is why is this even an issue if it doesn't seem to be the Chayv Yadayim? You didn't make it muktzah. So it should be able to change the status even if when Shabbos came in it was not edible. That's my question.
So raisins were put before Shabbos to dry.
Sorry?
Raisins that are put before Shabbos to dry are going to not be muktzah on Shabbos? Or going to be muktzah on Shabbos?
When Shabbos came in, they were what?
I don't know.
I mean, the case that we've been discussing until now was you put the grapes to dry, and because you're not sure if they're ready on Shabbos or not, you reject them, they remain rejected the whole Shabbos. Let's talk about now. But if you have raisins, they're already fit, and you just leave them on the roof, you didn't reject them, you just get a chance to take them down, that's not really the Chayv Yadayim. It rains. You didn't reject them.
And maybe the fact that you left them on the roof by itself.
It's still a continuation of rejection. Is that what you're saying? It's like you never rejected the rejection. Maybe. I don't know. Truth is, I don't know.
The question is raisins that were put on the roof to dry, since they're available now to be eaten.
If they were dry before Shabbos.
Okay, if they were dry before Shabbos, but raisins on the roof.
Yeah.
So when does it become muktzah?
Now the Mishnah Berurah says if it rains on them on Shabbos and then it dries, so because in Ben Hashmashas it wasn't muktzah, so it can become non-muktzah. It becomes muktzah on Shabbos when it rains, and then when it dries, it becomes non-muktzah. Because Ben Hashmashas it was roi. My only question is, what if it happened before Ben Hashmashas? And Ben Hashmashas it was actually wet and not edible. But question is, I guess they get too plump and mushy.
They get water.
Yeah, they get water, mushy. Now people don't like mushy raisins. So at that moment you're not going to eat it. But because it would seem that because you didn't actively reject them, it shouldn't be muktzah when it dries out anyway, even if it Ben Hashmashas it was muktzah, because it's not the choy biyadayim. The concept that when something is muktzah Ben Hashmashas, it stays muktzah the whole Shabbos is only true about the choy biyadayim. Not if
you did put it on the roof.
Yeah, but it was raisins before Shabbos. So was that considered the choy biyadayim when it was already dry before Shabbos?
You said it was wet before Shabbos.
Yeah, but that was from the rain. That was from the rain.
Before Shabbos.
Yeah.
So it says that it's muktzah even during Shabbos?
That's the mashmos of the Mishnah Berurah says. If it rained on Shabbos, or because it wasn't muktzah ben hashmashas, so that's why it can come mutter again on Shabbos.
Where did the Rav get the understanding that it becomes mutter, or it's muktzah all? It's not.
If it would be muktzah ben hashmashas, that's
it would be mutter all.
then it would remain muktzah all Shabbos. So, but Emmanuel was saying maybe since you put it on the roof and you never took it down, so when the rain comes, it's like a continuation of your action. Maybe. I don't know. Something to think about. Okay, my friends. Dalet. Bergus mukum shoyu muktzim. Kshigia ben hashmashas kol nesiyav shemurim la'achila. Av pi shel yaru abad beis hashosh nesiyav shu v'char kach lo yedam sheben hashmashas kol ha'yiveshem mutar. This is a big chiddush, my friends. Big chiddush. You rejected the figs and the grapes. You put them on the roof. You didn't know when they would be ready. All the components of muktzah exist. And then you discover on Shabbos
They're ready.
that before Shabbos they were already ready. What do I mean? Shabbos just came in. Stars are already out. You go up there to your roof and you see that they're mamish dry, and you can tell that they've already been dry for a while. So it's not considered muktzah, even though you didn't know when Shabbos came in that they were dry. But because they were dry, it's not muktzah. Big chiddush, because usually you think muktzah it's in your mind. You set it aside. You didn't know that it was muktzah, that it was ready. So you would think it would still be muktzah. No, the chiddush is that you only set it aside until it's ready. Once it's ready, it's automatically not muktzah, because you only set it aside until it would become ready.
So wait, he put it aside, he didn't know if it's edible or not?
He didn't know that it became edible before Shabbos.
Yeah, he made a mistake assuming
He assumed that it was not
they were
ready,
not ready.
and then he checked and he realized that it was ready already before Shabbos.
When did you check?
He checked, let's say Friday night, but he could tell that he could see he could feel that it was already ready before Shabbos started. So that's not considered muktzah, because when you set it aside, you only set it aside in your mind for as long as it takes to get ready. That's all. As soon as it's ready, even though you didn't know about it, it's automatically not muktzah. It is a big chiddush.
Chiddush, yes.
Chiddush.
Well, this is related to food or things?
It's an interesting question.
Quote Rashi.
It's an interesting question. What else do you are you suggesting it should apply to?
If you put something apart by mistake or whatever. Right. I haven't thought about
I mean, usually food is this type of thing that can be edible, not edible, back and forth, dry, you know what I'm saying, ripe, unripe. I mean, kalim, they're not usually things that change on their own. I mean, you could change it, but you can't do it on Shabbos anyway, so how's it going to, I mean, I just don't know of a case. I don't see why it should not apply to food. If you can think of a case of something else, I don't see why it shouldn't apply. I just don't know what that would be. I mean, there are things that have to dry before they're ready. I'm saying maybe I don't know, some kalim that have to dry in the sun, maybe. I don't know.
like basically the night after you use it for this. You have to put it down and you can move. Somebody calls you, there's no have to go. Or you can carry it.
So there's an nerve you can carry.
Oh wait, okay, it's narrow. Then that you can move it, and then if by mistake, then you can take it again. You have to use it again. You reverse,
If you have to use it again, you can for sure take it.
and then you reverse because it became, you know, now it's not. That could be the same.
Also, anything that you
The Taz discusses it, and the Mishnah Berurah also discusses it. I wasn't going to discuss the meal knife tonight. Maybe tomorrow night. I have Elchanan. I have Elchanan.
יש? ברוך השם, איש לך?
What do we do? Where's Joseph?
We're missing one.
We're missing Joseph. Is he online? No, I don't see him. Daniel and David. Who?
Something that you put aside because you thought it was very valuable. And when Shabbos you
זהו,
realize
זה דבר חשוב.
it's not really something you thought, okay, this is $1,000 bill. But then you realize it's just a piece of paper.
Yeah, if it was just a piece of paper all along, then it's nothing. It's like I got a piece of junk mail in my I got somebody else's mail by mistake on Shabbos. So I look at it, and through the white, like through the clear thing, I can see it says, pay to so-and-so $140,000. But it's like bulk mail, you know what I'm saying? It's obviously some kind of shtick that they want to get them to open it up. Anyway. Can you join us for at 9:50? Okay. We continue and we say, my friends. Okay, so Gorgas with Simukim that are half ready, but not quite ready. Some people would eat them like that, and some people wouldn't. So here's the halach. If he specifically said, I'm going to eat them, then he has made them non-muktzah by deciding to eat them. If he didn't decide, then they remain muktzah because they were already rejected, right? By putting them up there, which makes them inedible, they're already rejected. They came back almost to the state of edibility, but not quite. And he didn't decide that he wants to eat them, so they remain rejected until they're ready. Now another chiddush. If a person looked at his Gorgas Simukin and they were not ready, and he said, I'm going to eat them, I don't want them to be muktzah. That is a meaningless statement because they are muktzah. They are essentially muktzah. It's like taking a stone and saying, I don't want this to be muktzah. What do you mean you want it to be muktzah? It is muktzah. The way to make it not muktzah is to say, I'm going to make this into a doorstop or whatever, different things. But if something is not edible, you can't make it edible by saying you're going to eat it. It's not actually edible. It's just not.
Oh, not edible?
Not edible.
You should say only I
Why
want.
is he saying I'm gonna eat them?
Because he wants them to not be muktzah, so he says he's going to eat them. Doesn't help.
What if you actually eat them?
Doesn't
Could
make
you
it.
please translate hay again?
It doesn't make it not muktzah. Sorry.
Could you please translate through hay again?
And dried figs and grapes, or otherwise known as raisins, that are fit but are not fit. Right? They're halfway to being fit. There are some people that eat it. There are others that don't. If he prepared it, it has gone out of the category of muktzah. This is Aramaic, by the way, in case you're wondering why the words are so funny. But if not. But if they're not fit and he prepared them, meaning to say he said, I want them anyway. Asmana lav milsa. Such preparation means nothing. Not effective.
So if they're fit and instead of saying, I'm going to eat it, say, I may eat it, it has to be affirmative, like a commitment to it, no? Or can be, maybe I am, maybe I eat it, maybe I'm not.
I actually had that question. When I was learning Hilchos Yantif. And my understanding of it is you have to decide you're definitely eating them. Because the whole point is that when you rejected them 100%. To bring them back, being non-muktzah, you actually have to decide, yes, I'm going to eat them. Saying that I might is not enough to take them away from the category of being muktzah. They were set aside, they were rejected. To take them out of the category of being rejected, you actually have to bring them back. You can't say maybe, maybe not. Just like the person who didn't say anything, but they're fit for some people, but because he didn't bring them back, they're stay muktzah. So too, and if he said maybe, maybe not, it's the same as regular, not saying anything. See what I'm saying?
And if you commit to eat them, don't eat it.
If you really meant it, you meant it. If you meant it, you meant it. Question? No. Sorry. my friends, time for some Alter Rebbe. Here we go. Siman 310. Shin Yud. We're still short one from a minion. What about Shmuel Leib? What happened to him?
He is said he's busy working, I said he missed them, and I told him he is the same time like me. If he was here, he was passing all these years. So he make it. Right now he's
All right, I just texted him. Let's see what happens. Siman Shin Yud. Dini muktzah b'Shabbos oichav sifim. Laws governing muktzah b'Shabbos with 20 sifim. Quran is Baruch Siman Shin Ches. Shemuktzah machmas mi is mutter. Lefikach eitz shel medagam liyapshem al pishu mos mutter l'tatla. We already explained in 308 that an object that is muktzah because it is repulsive is permitted to move on Shabbos. Therefore, a board on which fish are usually hung to dry, even though it is repulsive, is permitted to be moved.
Yes,
You have somebody?
Yeah.
Ah, Baruch Hashem. Just confirm with Elchanan.
You're the Mashiach.
Okay. Okay, he explains in the notes here, by the way, in the English notes, that the board is an actual keli. I'm not talking about a stam piece of wood. I'm talking about something that is a keli. And he also points out that there are no actual raw fish hanging on it, otherwise it would be a basis. Okay, we continue and we say, Kol davar la'achil b'Shabbos. Ein boi din muktzah. Afilu moimid l'schayru. Going tomorrow, mashkele m'shaper se'em l'laylichem l'schayru l'mokam acher. Mutter lechem lehem b'Shabbos. The laws of muktzah do not apply to any food that is fit to be eaten on that Shabbos, even if it's set aside for merchandise, e.g. dates, almonds, and other fruits that were set aside to be transported to another place to be sold. It is permitted to eat them on Shabbos. Even if a person actively rejected them from eating them on Shabbos. For example, he planted them in the ground. You're allowed to eat from them Shabbos if they didn't take root yet. Points out in number 6, in note number 6, that we're going to see later that there are some things that when you reject actively, they remain muktzah the whole Shabbos. Here you reject them by planting them, and they don't remain muktzah the whole Shabbos. So he explains that we already explained that when you reject Gregus Tzimukim, you're doing it in a way that it's gonna become bad and then become good. Over here, it's just gonna become bad, so until it goes bad, you still want them. He points out another difference between this and what we're gonna say later about oil, that you reject it by lighting it, oil in a lamp. So by lighting it, you've rendered it impossible to use on Shabbos because it's forbidden to use. Because we're using oil that's in a lamp that's burning is forbidden. It's like extinguishing. Here, as long as it hasn't taken root, it's not forbidden to pick up. So you rejected it, but you didn't reject it completely because there's nothing stopping you from changing your mind.
What about a fruit that falls from a tree in Shabbos?
That's muktzah. That's muktzah. That's muktzah. No. So there's two issues. There's two issues. It's muktzah because when Shabbos began, it was muktzah, was connected. It's also muktzah because it grew on Shabbos, if it was still growing. And when something grows, that's a noilet gomer. That's a completely new thing for the nutrients to come from the ground and through the root system into the fruit. That's noilet gomer. And thirdly, even if it didn't grow because it was already ready, and even if you had in mind when Shabbos came in, you said, you know what, that looks like it's going to fall. I have in mind that I want to eat it. There's another issue, and that is the gzeira of Peiros HaNoshrim. if a person would be allowed to eat fruits that fall from the tree on Shabbos, they might forget and pick more fruit. So there's a special gzeira of Chazal not to eat that fruit. Because it's forbidden to eat, it's automatically muktzah like any other forbidden fruit. That's an interesting question. So the two other muktzahs don't apply as far as it being set aside ben hashmashas, because it wasn't set aside the whole ben hashmashas. As far as noted, also ben hashmashas, I don't think so. As far as peres and noishrim, we make a gzeir and ben hashmashas that you might go up, and I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they only made it on Shabbos itself. Not sure. I don't know. Okay.
Your dog or your animal?
No. No. Can't. Again, if you feed it to your dog, maybe you'll pick some for your dog. Okay. You're allowed to eat from these. So you're allowed to eat from this wheat on Shabbos, but not unless you didn't take root. So too, eggs that you put under the hen to have chicks, you're allowed to move them. It's mashma, by the way, that raw eggs are fit to eat. Just by the way. I mean, I've never done it, but I know some people do. So that's what it's mashma. In number 8, he explains unfertilized eggs. Sorry? Okay.
Even when you fry the eggs.
Somewhat, yeah. To explain, unfertilized eggs laid before Shabbos may be eaten and are therefore permitted to be carried. Those laid on Shabbos are permitted as noilad, are prohibited as noilad. Fertilized eggs from which chicks will eventually hatch are kept in a nest. The mother hen sits on the eggs to warm them. As mentioned in the previous section, at an advanced stage, the chicks are recognizable still in the shell. Since even dogs will not eat the chicks because of the shell, the eggs are muktzah. This subsection is describing a preliminary stage before the eggs have developed the chicks. At this stage, the eggs are not muktzah. Okay. So too dates that were harvested, that were picked before they're ripe, and they're put into baskets and they get ripe there, you're allowed to eat from them if you choose to before they are fully ripe. So to any other fruit that you put into a muktzah. A muktzah is an area behind the house where they used to use that to dry things. The yabsham mutter lechol mahem koydem sheis yabshu. You're allowed to eat from them before they dry. Chutz, and here's the big exception. Chutz migroigers v'tzimukim, with the exception of figs and grapes. You're not allowed to eat them. You're not allowed to move them from when you put them up on the roof or outside to dry until after they completely dry. The fishin masriches bentayim, because they become smelly in between. And they are not fit to eat from when they are put out there for a little bit until they become completely dry. Therefore, they are forbidden to eat or move on Shabbos because of muktzah. And notice how he says you're not allowed to eat them from when they're put in the muktzah. He doesn't say from when they go bad. Once you put them in the muktzah and you know that they're going to go bad, from that moment they're muktzah.
Basically, even before Shabbos.
I mean, before Shabbos you could change your mind.
So
Talking about
usually just put it and then you can't touch them anymore.
when Shabbos comes in, you can't touch them. It goes without saying if they're actually not fit. If they're actually not fit, they're worse than all other muktzah. Meaning to say, usually muktzah means set aside. If they're not fit, then they're worse than something set aside. They're actually not fit. You understand? Muktzah is something that's fit, but you set it aside. If it's not edible, it's automatically muktzah. It's essentially muktzah. They're like earth and stones. Even if you prepare it before Shabbos, it doesn't help because they are essentially muktzah, as we will explain. Here's the chiddush. Even if they're somewhat ready, some people eat it in that way and some people don't. Nevertheless, also because of muktzah, because he actively rejected it, they're not coming out of that state until they are completely ready. They're not like other things that you actively rejected, but are permissible because even though you rejected them actively, nevertheless you didn't completely remove your mind from them. Meaning to say, when it comes to something that you put out to dry, but it's still edible, even though you rejected it or putting out to dry, you said, I'm going to dry it, but in the back of your mind, you know it's edible. Might change your mind. If you put it in the storage house to sell, whatever, in the back of your mind, you know it's there. If I need it, I'll use it. But over here, you know that it's not going to be edible, so when you put it out there, you're completely rejecting it. No. Muktzah gomer. Muktzah gomer.
I want the space. I need the space.
Too bad.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. This is muktzah gomer.
So there's no some effort to move it.
No. Kalachayad. Only kalachayad.
But if we're saying that it's masriach, because it gets wet, so maybe it's going to be bechamat mius. Not move it.
Mius is something that has a use. It's disgusting. Maybe you'll use it, maybe not. But here, it's not that it's mius. It's not fit for eating. So lo ra'ui la'achila.
Tzula is not for eating.
So
I mean, if you're in the backyard and your family come in, we said last couple of weeks we can clean that.
That's because even though it's muktzah, the Chacham didn't want you to have disgusting Shabbos. But it is muktzah, but they gave you a heter to move it anyway. It's not like other things that you rejected them, but they're mutter. You didn't completely remove your mind from it. Not so these things that you left to dry. Because he knows they're going to dry, they're going to go bad. He removes them from them completely. Until they're completely dry. And they should be well fixed. They should be fit for everybody. Even if you change your mind on your side, either on Shabbos, they're not prepared. But because you rejected them when Shabbos came in, it remains that way. Anything that was removed from a person's mind when Shabbos came in, remains muktzah for the entire Shabbos. We continue with Gimel and we say, but when we say this, Yisrael, if they belong to a Jew, if they belong to a Gentile, mutarim, they are permissible if they are half fit. Because the muktzah doesn't apply to a guy. Everything is ready for him. He doesn't remove his mind from anything. Shabbos doesn't mean anything to him. Before Shabbos, after Shabbos, during Shabbos, it's the same. So he never sets it aside in his mind. Because it's ready for one person, i.e. for the owner, who's not Jewish, is considered prepared for everybody. But this is only because it's somewhat fit. If it's not edible, then it's muktzah regardless of who the owner is, because it's simply not edible. When we say this with our tolush, if it's something that's disconnected from the ground, listen carefully. What you were asking, something connected to the ground that became separated on Shabbos. Even a guy who picked it for himself. When Shabbos came in, he didn't reject it by not picking it. He doesn't have to keep Shabbos. So he can pick it up whenever he wants. There's no rejection. Even more so. He thought when Shabbos came in, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to go berry picking in my berry field. He mamish thought about it. So he prepared it in his mind for eating. For example, he heard the guy saying, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to pick these. Even if they're already ripe, and hachana helps for them. Even when they're still connected. Because they're ripe, so they're not going to grow in Shabbos at all. Nevertheless, the muktzah anyway. In other words, you don't have the problem that he rejected it by not picking it, because the guy didn't reject it. On the contrary, he's planning to pick it. You don't have the problem that it grew on Shabbos because it was completely ripe. You still have the problem of pears hanashim. Fruits that fall off on Shabbos are considered muktzah because you may pick them. Even if they didn't fall off, even if a goy picked them, it's still under the same category of pears hanashim, and it's muktzah.
So what the solution? It's one, get the basket outside, and then one extra one. Oh, bring Shabbos into the basket. The whole basket going to be awesome. Or the whole car is going to be awesome.
I mean, you have a problem with davar sheish lematirin.
I don't know which one is what.
I'm saying you have a problem with davar sheish lematirin. But I think if it falls straight into them, I think it's okay. If it's bottle b'shishim, 60 good ones.
No part of the decision, but
Then no. Actually, it's yavish b'yavish. Maybe even a majority. It's yavish
you have
b'yavish.
to take one out and the rest is muktzah, or have to
I don't need to
take
take
the
one
basket
out.
off and pick up
I don't need to take one out. Just don't eat them all. Eat them all besides one. So don't take out one. Leave one behind. Take everything else.
I'm allowed to move the whole basket.
I think so. If it fell straight in, so it never became really muktzah because it fell straight in. So with Siman. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure about that.
You walk into a garden on Shabbos, you find an apple.
Can't eat it.
It could have been.
Could have been, but it's a davar sheish lematirin. It's a suffix muktzah, but it's after Shabbos. It's going to become mutter. So why should you have it in a case of a doubt?
So,
Just wait till after Shabbos.
Rabbi, before Shabbat, you look in the window and you see apple about 10 of them falling apart. After Shabbat, when Shabbat is coming, you're allowed to take that 10.
Yeah, those 10 you can take. I've picking over so that already. Paris and Noshrim, she's very yeah. Davar shum chusot tzedin bo yom tzaroi sanach b'Shabbos and yom da'at l'atz b'Shabbos and da'at l'atz klum she'en davar tar leboy arei hu also b'Shabbos shum muktzah shkim shlei b'shusa shalom klal ein zeh min hamucha. Here's a nice chiddush, my friends. Something that was not yet trapped on Shabbos, before Shabbos, and the goy says, I'm going to go hunting tomorrow. I'm going to catch myself a nice blank, you name it, fish. And he goes hunting and he catches the fish on Shabbos. It is muktzah for the Jew. Why? Because the guy didn't know that he was going to catch it. He thinks he's going to catch it. He doesn't know he's going to. Even if yes, he doesn't know which fish he's going to catch. So his saying, I'm going to catch a fish, doesn't take that fish that's in the ocean and make it not muktzah. He has no way of knowing if he's going to catch it or not. Understand? So that remains muktzah. It was muktzah before Shabbos, and the guy can't prepare it. It's not in his domain to prepare it. Kol davar she'asu b'til ben hashmashas, number 4. Anything that was forbidden to carry ben hashmashas, was Shabbos halach le'adavar gam le'yaser. And then on Shabbos, what caused it to be forbidden went away. Keep going. Davar she'muktzah ben hashmashas says something was forbidden ben hashmashas. And if Prophet says yaser shayas b'achil le'yor le'klum ben hashmashas, then muktzah wasn't tel. It was muktzah because when Shabbos came in, it was forbidden to eat, and therefore wasn't fit for anything. And therefore was muktzah even to move. Shabbos nistalik min isser. Then when Shabbos, somehow during Shabbos the isser went away, and v'nasar and it became fit. Nevertheless, you're not allowed to carry it the whole Shabbos.
In any case, the muktzah was before during Shabbos, they go can change the rishut and be not muktzah anymore.
Change the what? For example?
For the Jew. I don't know, that's not going to be any kind of a case. Some people muktzah for Shabbos,
Who was the owner?
not the Jew.
Yeah, if the guy is the owner, he can change it, yeah. We said before. If the guy is the owner, he can change it.
But if nobody is the owner, like the hunting,
Well,
nobody was the owner, so you cannot change it.
you cannot change it because it's not in his domain. Not his domain. As long as his domain, even if it's Muktzah Shabbos come in, but he has the ability to change it. So therefore, if he changes it, it's not Muktzah.
So the boy has a big. Boy picking up from making a cow. Still,
Milking a cow is a separate problem because the milk itself is noiled. So regardless of who actually milks it, the milk itself is noiled. I think that kind of noiled we do because it's a very big change from being blood inside the animal to being an edible item. A very big change is noiled, even on Shabbos. I believe that milk is one of them. I think we discussed this in the past, I'm pretty sure.
If you go to your neighbor, pick up a mango on Shabbos and see mangoes and come bring it during Shabbos.
Unless you know that they were off the tree before Shabbos, they're muktzah.
So all this, I've just picked them up on this fresh.
Muktzah.
So it's his domain, his tree.
Make a difference. Pears are kosher. Any fruit that comes off any tree on Shabbos, whether it fell off or a guy takes it off, is exer pears and kosher. Can't have it.
Say that the map.
Wait till after Shabbos. No,
You're gonna say.
can't accept. Unless you know for a fact that it was from before Shabbos, can't consider muktzah.
But if you go to, let's say, something on there, will mango, and then actually get out, there was before, if you don't, so what do you do with that?
Shall to put it down, and I'll have it after Shabbos. Thank you very much.
Well, that can show 100%.
No,
So you decide.
no. Tom, thank you very much. I can't take it from you. It's my Sabbath, but if you put it down right here, I'll be able to have it later. When do we say this? The end of Dalit, or not the end, halfway through. If the person rejected it, meaning to say the person caused it to be forbidden. For example, a lamp was lit before Shabbos. After Ben Ishmoshes came, it extinguished it, it went out. And oil was left in it. This oil was rejected from being fit for Shabbos. Why? Because by lighting it, you're rejecting it because it's forbidden to extinguish it. Therefore, it's forbidden to use it even after the candle went out, and the went away. Because by Ben Ishmoshes, which is the beginning of the entry of Shabbos, it was muktzah from the person's mind, that he set it aside. When he caused it to be aser, it became muktzah for the entire Shabbos. So that's because he set it aside through lighting the lamp. That's what the Machma says. So to anything that was not fit, not because it's forbidden, just because it's essentially not fit. And then it became fit when Shabbos came in, which is muktzah if the person rejected it from being fit. For example, these figs and grapes that were not ready when Shabbos came in. Over Shabbos, and then on Shabbos, they actually finished drying and now they're ready. Nevertheless, they stay muktzah. Why? Because when Ben Ishmoshes came, they were set aside from the person's mind. Shakes them idaite, set them aside, and as much as when you put them into dry. They remain muktzah with the entire Shabbos. Vav. But it's something that was muktzah menish mashas against the person's will, but rather because Hashem made it muktzah. That is not set aside from the entire Shabbos. Okay, going for example, something was muktzah because of a prohibition that came on its own, not through a person. And when it got dark, the Isser went away. It no longer has muktzah.
Just going back to what we discussed. Why the Chal and Ben Hashmashas is still raw, it's not edible? Why is not I have the concept of the Chal when you put it raw? So basically, even Ben Hashmashas, it's not over the Achila.
Right, but because you know it's going to become better, you know for a fact, so it's considered like you.
So what is the rules that we're saying? If something was in muktzah Ben Hashmashas, remain muktzah for the rest of Shabbos?
It doesn't apply to Gomer B'dei Adam. It doesn't apply to something that you can fix.
What if you don't know the status of something? What was the status of that? You know, you did it for a fact, you didn't accept it, you didn't designate it, and then I think that could be either way. And
For example, give me an example.
those fruits that you be go either way, halfway, you didn't set them apart, but you didn't commit to.
Halfway is something that happens after it goes bad. After it goes bad, it becomes somewhat dry, and it's now a little bit ready, a little bit not ready. But it was rejected in the beginning. You understand what I'm saying?
Because sometimes you're not aware of every object. You're not thinking, okay, I'm going to reject this.
So here's the general rule. Here's a general rule.
Case of doubt.
Here's a general rule. If you didn't actively reject it, so even if when Shabbos came in it was not fit, if it becomes fit on Shabbos, it's not muktzah. Not only if you're not sure, even if you're sure that when Shabbos came in it was not ready, if it becomes ready on Shabbos, it's mutter. So if you have unripe fruit that are getting ripe, and you know for a fact when Shabbos came in they weren't ripe, and then they become ripe on Shabbos, that's not muktzah. Even though they weren't ready, but you never rejected them.
I'm asking in case of you're not aware of the situation. You really think about this.
So that's not rejection. By the very fact that you're not sure of it, you obviously didn't reject it. Rejection means you knew it. That's what I'm saying.
But you don't even see the status. We're not ready. Like in that case, there should be. Because
if you rejected it and you weren't sure of it, then there's not, anything you didn't reject.
General rule in case of doubt.
No,
Before you mentioned
it's not. See, that this whole discussion is not going to apply in a case of doubt, because the whole discussion that we're saying here is based on the concept of rejection. There's no such thing as doubtful rejection. Rejection means rejected. You understand what I'm saying? And once you did reject it, if it came back doubtfully, it stays rejected. You understand?
Unless you made a mistake.
Yeah, if it was not a, yeah, if it was a mistake, it doesn't apply. Yeah, if it was a mistake, it doesn't apply. That's true. That's true.
There's no general rule like in case of doubt. Forbidden. Before with the fruits, it's so clear.
With the fruits, it says it clearly.
So many other.
With the fruits, it says clearly that because it's a davar sheish lematirin, you can wait till after Shabbos. So if you don't know if it fell on Shabbos or before, you have to wait till after. But if you hear by the concept of rejection, I don't think there is an example where you're not sure. You see what I'm saying? Because rejected has to be sure, and once you reject it, in order for it to become non-muktzah, you have to be sure that it was ready before Shabbos. Okay. So the point is something that was not actively rejected. It was simply usher. And when it got dark, the usher went away. Shuvim Mashum Muktzah has no muktzah. Abhishek Shiyah Ben Ashmaras Sir Dartim and Gamri Leim on Tzavakla Shitakas of Shabbos. Even though when Shabbos came in, he set his mind aside and he had no plans to get it on Shabbos. Going Balacham Shemuktzah Shabbos, for example. Animals are forbidden on Shabbos because you can't eat, you can't shech them on Shabbos. And then you shech them on Shabbos for a person that became sick today. You understand? So he wasn't sick when Shabbos came in. So you didn't think to yourself, you know what? If the doctor says to shecht it, I'm going to shecht it. You didn't think about it. Nevertheless, if it was shechted for this person who became sick on Shabbos, so there was no thought that you're going to have it. Nevertheless, a healthy person could eat from it raw. He can't eat from it cooked because maybe you'll add for him, whatever. But raw, he can eat from it. Even though when Shabbos came in, he in his mind, he removed his mind from eating it. Because the concept of shchita, the issur shchita, came with love, because the fact that it's forbidden to shecht is made by Hashem. You didn't do it. So therefore it can change in Shabbos. So too with any similar thing. All right, my friends, Daniel and David, wherever you are, David, I'm not sure where you are. We're going to stop a little bit early because we have to daven Ma'ariv. And
Is here?
Elchanan said he would come. So we're going to stop here and continue tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem. I wanted to finish 310 this week. So the plan is we're finishing 310 this week. Tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem.
Okay.
Whether we finish, finishing it. Whatever we get through, and that's it. But we don't have time. So whatever we get through, we're going to get through. And next week we're going to finish up. Sorry?
We go directly tomorrow.
We'll do the best we can. Have a good night, gentlemen.